It's good mid-morning.
And welcome back to Good Mid Morning. It is our Wednesday edition of Good Mid Morning, and happy St. Patrick's Day. Yes, this is our second episode, and my guest host today is one of Portland's funniest people, an amazingly funny stand-up comedian, podcaster, and sports fan, a true Irishman, Jake Silberman. Faith and Begorra to you, Jake, on this fine St. Patrick's Day. How are you?
Oh, Liam, I'm doing well. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fine, just fine. It is St. Patrick's Day, and I wanted to start the show with my top three Irish jokes that I remember.
Okay,
and,
blame on me.
and the first one is this is the first one. First Irish joke I ever told in front of a live audience. I think I was in fourth grade, and it goes something like this. What do the Irish sit on outside? Patio furniture.
Ooh, I like the idea that in fourth grade you were already doing various ethnic jokes.
Yeah.
That's very solid.
Yeah, it's okay because I'm Irish.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right, these are your people.
The second one, this is a great one. It's about an Irish family. Irish family lives out in the country, and they're a farm family, and they've never been into the city. And one day they get a letter that says they have to go into the city to see somebody in the government. They have to go to the government building. So they get excited, and they've never been in the city, so they pack the whole family in the car, and they drive down there, and they get to the government building, and the father takes the son. He says, "Let's go in here. We've got business to do. Leave the ladies in the car." And they go into the building, and they've never seen anything like it. It's just amazing. And they see the elevator, and the elevator comes down, and it opens up, and this little old lady gets in, and the doors close, and it goes up, and they watch it, and then it comes back down, and the doors open again, and a beautiful woman steps out, and the father says to his son, "Go get your mother." And the third one is a drinking challenge joke. A Texan goes into an Irish pub, and he sets down $300, and he says, "I'll give $300 to anybody who can drink 10 pints in under 5 minutes." And everybody kind of just looks around. There's this crazy yank. And one guy gets up and he leaves. He walks out the door. Texan's like, "Well, whatever. Give me a pint." He sits down and he's drinking the pint. And he's not even done with his pint. And the guy who left comes back and he says, "I'll take your bet. Line up the pints." And the Texan goes, "Woohoo!" And they line up the 10 pints. And the Irishman just drinks them one after the other. Way less than 5 minutes, like 3 minutes. And the guy's amazed. The Texan's just amazed. "Oh, man, how'd you do that, son? I can't believe it. And where'd you go? Where'd you go before you did it?" And he says, "I went next door just to see if I could do it."
These are good. These are good Irish jokes.
Yeah, those are my top three Irish jokes.
Man, they're not just da chings. These are little stories.
Yeah, you gotta love the stories. You got
Yeah, the stories are good. I love the stories.
It is St. Patrick's Day, so of course we're drinking the entire time, right? You've got your whiskey and Guinness.
Classic, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, you know me. I'm a huge drinker. I'm up at 9 a.m. drinking with you, Liam. So yes,
A special occasion. So tell us about yourself, Jake. I know that this year was interesting for you for sure. But tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us about your COVID experience.
yeah, interesting. Yeah, we'll keep it at the word interesting, so I don't put my fist through a monitor. Yeah, my COVID year was quite interesting. I was actually supposed to move to New York City to kind of keep the comedy dream rolling down the tracks, and that obviously did not happen. I was supposed to move there last June, so 9 months ago. And yeah, just thankful, I guess, in some ways that I hadn't just moved and COVID hit. So that was a positive. But yeah, that all got derailed. I had this big tour, this 2-week tour set up across America. Basically, me and a buddy of mine and a filmmaker who's also a friend of mine. We're going to do a comedy tour across the country and film it and make a little documentary about moving to New York and, just doing all these gigs. And so I was really looking forward to that, and obviously it didn't get to happen, but we'll see what the future holds now. I don't know. New York is still whatever, it's not great.
Yeah.
So I don't know. My plan, honestly, right now is I'm looking to maybe like buy a van and move into that and just be like a van comic for a while.
You're like the third person I know that's their plan, is to buy a van and then live in the van.
It's just this, like, I don't know, it hits you at some point where you're like, I guess I just gotta live in a car for a while and move on out to the road and try to make it there. Because yeah, I don't know, I mean, you got to just hustle. It's all hustle. These, like, being an artist is just hustling. Unless you get some big break, you're just kind of like on the fringes of like always trying to make something else happen, I think.
Yeah. And COVID put the kibosh on that.
COVID put the major kibosh on that. So, yeah, that's where I'm at, man. It's been weird. It's been weird to try to adjust and do everything online and try to make stuff happen. But, like I said, I am thankful that I was not in New York City. That would have, like, absolutely sucked to just have moved there and be living with 10 new roommates and sharing the pet rat.
And that's those are the people you have to live with for the next year.
Yeah. So very glad that I'm in Portland and doing my thing here.
But that though would have been a very good documentary.
Yes. It would have been an amazing documentary.
Yeah.
Would have been sad, though, that it probably wouldn't have gotten picked up. It would have been on my YouTube channel. It would have got 1,000 views, and I would have just been sad and broke, and, nothing would have worked out.
Well, I'm glad that you're here. We're glad that you're here.
Yeah.
And welcome to Good Mid Morning.
Thank you.
So on Good Mid Morning, we are we like the music, and we like to have an album of the day or albums or music of the day. And today, it being St. Patrick's Day, of course, our album of the day is got to be an Irish band, and it is the Pogues. If I Should Fall from the Grace of God. This album came out in 1988 and is one of my favorite albums, I think, of all times. Are you familiar with the Pogues?
I'm not really, so I'm excited to hear them. In 1988, I was 1 year old. So,
no shit.
Yeah, this is a little before my time, but I'm excited to hear one of your favorite albums.
Yeah, and this is the Pogues are an Irish punk band, and this is an album that I listened to a lot when I was a teenager. So, because I was a teenager. Well, I wasn't quite a teenager in or was I? I was a teenager in 1988. Oh, shit. All right. Well,
drink to that, baby.
I'm going to drink to that. Folks, here is the Pogues, If I Should Fall from the Grace of God.
Not to any of the others. Let them go, boys. Let them go, boys. Let them go down in the mud when it's all dry. card wearing on Dr. Kind of relieve me if I'm buried beneath the side. Still the angels won't receive me. Let me go, boys, let me go, boys. Let me go down in the mud where the rivers are undry.
That was a title track off of the Pogues, If I Should Fall from the Grace of God. Folks, hey, folks, check out what's going on in Podland. We have some great podcasts happening and some more on the way. Check out Fiddle Me This with host JT Trawick, and look out for new episodes of My Three Songs coming out on April 20th. Also, don't forget to check out our DJ page with featuring DJ BA and his show Strictly Off the Records, and of course my show The Way We Get By with DJ Flash Gordon, quarterback New York Jets. It's all here, right here on Podland Productions. Let's move on now to I don't know, stuff that's going on in the world, or newsy type things stuff. Yesterday, Jake, me and Joey, the co-host, were discussing magic mushrooms and their legality now. Have you heard about mushrooms becoming more and more legal?
Yeah, didn't we passed a law? Is it in Oregon or just in Portland?
We did in Oregon, and then in DC they just legal. I think they decriminalized mushrooms. They might have even legalized them.
Shout out to DC for not being a state, but still having the foresight to get those mushrooms legal.
Exactly. Are you are you a mushroom taker? Do you ever partake in psychedelics?
I used to a lot more. I haven't done it. I think in a couple of years. It's like one of those things that was definitely part of my like college years, and then kind of like early and mid 20s, and then I just sort of tapered off, but not opposed to it for sure. Just I don't know, kind of don't find maybe as much time anymore to just take a trip to the woods. So
I've been, I enjoy mushrooms because I've never taken the amount that I don't take big handfuls. I eat like a stem, and I get my body high, and I get really giggly. And that's and I'm I can function. I can go through my day. It's called microdosing.
Yes,
it's called microdosing, folks.
Right. That's the new term. That's what all the tech CEOs are doing, and they're running boardrooms with a little bit of fucking psilocybin inside of them, and making the economy work.
It's great. It feels good, and it makes you happy. Give it a shot. So it's interesting that you said that you did. Were you a pot smoker in your teens and college?
College for sure. Kind of the same. I didn't really smoke in high school at all, and then once I hit college, I was kind of hit that wave of my life. Became a heavy, pretty much every day for some years, and then again just started to taper off, and now I don't do it at all. Yeah. So I guess I'm just becoming old and boring is what's happening, I guess, as we discussed.
I don't know. I don't know if age has anything. You're probably just becoming boring.
Yes.
Because
right,
I'm older than you, and I smoke weed and do mushrooms. So,
okay. So
age has nothing. Yeah.
I'm like a young, boring guy is what's happening here.
And I didn't start smoking weed until I was in my mid-20s, 25, 26.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. When I was in high school or my early 20s, I thought weed was stupid. I was like, no,
wait, were you drinking in your...
Oh, yeah.
You were one of these judgmental alcoholics who were just like, nah, man, I don't do that.
You act stupid.
Bullshit.
Yep. That was me.
Yeah.
And then I was like 25, 26, and I saw the light, and I never looked back.
And your sperm count's been dropping ever since, baby.
Yep. Well, I didn't want children, so
there you go, kill them.
Another subject we talked about yesterday, and I want to let people know I will be bringing up subjects that we talked about yesterday, just because I want to get other people's opinion on certain things that I find to be, if not interesting, but frustrating. Are you aware of the Meghan Markle, Oprah Winfrey conversation?
Yeah, man. I talked a little bit about this with a buddy of mine. I didn't watch it or anything, but like, you don't need to watch anything anymore because it will just be jammed into your eyes if you spend any time on the internet. Like, it'll just be like, yeah, this is what is happening for everybody else. So here's what you get to see this too.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, it's like one of those things where you're like, okay, like it sounds like it's a bad story. This family's like kind of racist and they, whatever. Like, but like, it's also a story where you're like, why the fuck should I care about this? Like, like I get it. Like, yes, it's bad that the family you married into, like, asked some weird questions about what fucking skin color your baby was going to be. But also, like, why is it my business? Like, I don't know you people. I don't want to know you. The royal family is stupid. It's a dumb tradition so it's like, yes, bad, I'm sorry, but also like, why does the world need to know about this? And why does the world have an opinion on this? Yes, we get it. My thing is like, yes, there are plenty of broke racist families that we'll never hear about in this country. But for some reason, we need to know about this English family that has nothing to do with our lives. And we have to be like, oh, like, we're so upset that...
Or surprised. We're supposed to be surprised that the royal family is racist.
Right. Look at those dudes, man. I mean, like they're like in a deck of like racist trading cards. Like, that guy looks like a vamp. The one they keep showing, who I still don't know who he is, but he's like the really old dude who everybody, he looks like a corpse. Like
Prince Andrew. That's Prince Andrew. He's married to the Queen. That's the Queen's husband.
Oh my God, I did not know the Queen had a husband even.
Yeah.
Wait, he's not the king somehow.
No,
he's
because
married to the Queen.
Well, because she's the heir. She was in the family, and he's not in the family.
Oh,
so.
He's not.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that's how it worked. I thought if you married a queen, you just became a king.
No, because then everybody would be marrying queens.
Well, I mean, even so, if you marry a queen and you still become a prince, that's a pretty good gig, right?
He may have been a prince already, though. I'm guessing he was a prince already. You know what I'm saying? Like he was from a royal family as well, and then
yeah, dude, we got to get rid of these royal families. We're in 2021, folks.
Yeah, it's so stupid. I mean,
there are 16-year-old kids on TikTok who have more influence than the royal family. What are we pretending that this is like a real thing?
I don't know. Well, we have our own royal families, like J-Lo and A-Rod, who are trying. They're trying to get their. They want to spend more time together. They want to spend more time in person to figure out their relationship. This is our royal family.
News. This is the news. This is the hard-hitting news that you're going to cover on this podcast is various bullshit, like fucking TMZ articles.
Well, we could talk about North Korea,
Yeah, give me a dictator. Give me a solid, throw your henchmen and piranhas dictator.
Well, I mean, the North Korea is throwing out warnings again to Joe or to the United States or Joe Biden, telling him he better not make a stink during their annual military fucking bullshit that they do every goddamn time somebody new comes into office, and they have to go over and do military shit over in South Korea, and then North Korea says don't you do anything bad or we're gonna nuke everyone. So
we got to get rid of that whole family.
Yeah,
I'm for the execution of both the royal family and the Un family.
Yeah, that would be good entertainment right there.
Some families gotta go. We need to be okay with that realization that some families just gotta go.
And we gotta put them in a ring and make them battle it out.
Oh, well, the Un family would definitely eat the royal family. There's no way that they are not surviving that battle with fucking these little pussy-ass English people. But yeah, I'm just tired of like these new, like this like news stories revolving around like, hey, this crazy family that for some reason runs half the planet or whatever, has all this power. You're like, dude, just get rid of them. Just beat them to the sharks. Let's just make the world better.
Or you have what's going on in Myanmar or Burma, where the military coup is happening and protesters are being killed on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's wild that I mean it's never good when protesters are like fucked with, but it's like, and like obviously Portland and the US has its issues, but it is wild when you see like, oh damn, this is like as far as I know, I haven't read any like stories about like a protester being killed this summer. I think there was one guy in Portland who got, there's been people who've been like pretty badly injured. Yeah. But then you read a story and like, hey, in 1 week they've killed 150 protesters. Like, holy shit, yeah. This is like a different game they're playing over there. Yeah,
they're not fucking around at all.
No, at all.
Yeah. We're actually Good Mid Morning is going to have my brother is an anthropologist, and he is focused on Burma, so he's going to be a guest on the show to talk about what's going on. Oh, wow. There. That's going to be very interesting.
Crazy.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Let's take a quick break, listen to another song from the Pogues, our album of the day, If I Should Fall from the Grace of God. This is one of my favorite tracks off the album. It's called Fairy Tale of New York. You're listening to Good Mid Morning right here in Podland Productions.
It was Christmas Eve, babe, in the drunk tank. An old man said to me, won't see another one. And then he sang a song, the rare old mountain tune. I turned my face away and dreamed about you. Got on a lucky one, came in 18 to 1. I've got a feeling this year's for me and you. So happy Christmas, I love you, baby. I can see a better time when all our dreams come true.
They got cars big as bars, they got rivers of gold, but the windows right through you, it's no place for the old. When you first took my hand on a cold Christmas Eve, you promised me Broadway was waiting for me. You were handsome,
you were pretty queen of New York City. When the band finished playing, they held out for more. Sinatra was swinging, all the drums they were singing. We kissed on the corner, then danced through the night. The boys of the NYPD choir were singing, go away, babe. And the bells were ringing out for Christmas Day. In that bed.
you scumbag, you maggot, you cheap, lousy faggot. Happy Christmas, you're ours, I pray God it's our love.
The boys of the NYPD choir still singing, go away, babe. And the bells are ringing out for Christmas Day. I could have been someone.
Well, so could anyone. You took my dreams from me when I first found you.
I kept them with me, babe. I put them with my own. can't make it all alone. I built my dreams around you. The boys of the NYPD chorus are singing Galway Bay, and the bells are ringing out for Christmas Day.
That was the Pogues fairy tale of New York City. Hey, while you're here on Podland, why don't you, did you know that Podland Productions is on Patreon now? That's right. Now you can become a patron of Podland. Just click on the link on our homepage and become a patron today. With your help, we will make Podland a content machine, giving you fun and interesting entertainment all week long. Head on over to Patreon or just click on that button on our homepage. Oh, man, we are back. What is happening, Jake?
Man, I am just getting my day started. You know, I'm getting busier. Things are slowly popping up. You know, things are moving a little bit more out there in the world. So, you know, actually, I always have this tradition of every year at the beginning of the year, I go to the dollar store and I buy, you know, just $1, like little pocket kind of calendar. And that's where I would just keep all my show dates, anything, you know, just all the stuff I had to do regarding comedy. And, you know, it was just, I was like, well, I'm going to keep the tradition, even though not shit was happening in January. But now I actually have to write stuff down. I'm like, oh, like I'm doing this show or I'm doing the podcast or I'm doing this. So that is an exciting feeling to like kind of rise from the slumber of, you know, this last year. Yeah.
You feel like it's coming back.
It is. It's weird. I mean, I don't know about how you're feeling and where and kind of what you're, you know, involved with day to day, but like, do you kind of get the energy? And I don't know this is like a great thing quite yet, but I do feel the vibe, the pulse of the city and the world is people are like, yeah, it's done for us. COVID, we're done with this. And because, like, you know, within what? It was less than a month now, like the governor opened indoor dining again and bars and like across the country, like sports teams have been allowing like a minimal amount of fans inside stadiums. Like the NHL and NBA has had like pretty small amounts, like not even any that you really notice on TV, but you know, some people are there. And I just get the vibe that people are like collectively decided like, yeah, we know it's still out there. We know I could get it. Not everybody has the vaccine, but like the vibe on the street is like, yeah, we're fucking done with this shit, dude. We are done.
And especially here in Portland, any time that the sun comes out after the winter, that vibe is very strong. People are just out, and I've noticed that people are walking around. You know, a lot more people are walking around without masks on. Like during the winter, everybody had masks on whenever they were walking outside, and now there's just people walking around.
Yeah, no, and you know, like the bars, you just walk by a bar and like people are on the patio, people are in the bar, they're drinking. Like I just the energy is pulsating through this town again. So it's like fun, and it's like, oh shit, someone's probably gonna get sick from this, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we shall see. I mean, thank God for Florida, because you know they're our barometer or whatever. You know, they just they're whatever. If they start to spike in Florida, then we know that it's not time yet, I guess.
All right, let me ask you this because
Okay.
you're, I don't know like how much you read about this stuff or whatever, but I'm interested in like, so yes, like some of these southern states that have like kind of never locked down or very briefly locked down, like, do you know anything about like did their numbers go through the roof, or were these lockdowns like not that effective as an actual uh, like barrier to the virus?
Yeah, that's actually up for debate because there's the California who locked down completely, basically,
Right.
for 8 months or however long. But
Right.
and I think that the numbers between California and Florida aren't that different, But then you take, I think, South Dakota, who didn't do anything ever, and they're fucked. They're like their numbers are, they are just they're in a world of hurt.
Right. It's like so, and I wonder like how good the science will be about like because so much of it is like yeah, like California locked down, but like did everybody listen or like what were people actually doing on the ground? Were they still meeting up with their friends and giving it to each other? Like it's hard to tell, but I do wonder like what if we come out of this, let's say in 3 years, and someone's like, they do a big study over a couple of years and they kind of track all this information. And then they're like, you know what? The lockdowns didn't work at all. Like, will people have to be like, well, I guess those fucking anti-lockdown protesters were right. And like, we owe them apology. Cause like, we're not going to admit that.
No.
I feel like in this country that those people, the guys who showed up with the guns at the Capitol were like on the right side of history. I don't think,
Yeah.
So it's just a weird, like, I don't know. It'll be weird. I feel like it could be a thing that, like, really, really divides the country still. Because people are... Well, because if we never come around and say, okay, we were wrong, then you, like, what trust? You can't gain anybody's trust. Like, they'll be like, well, fuck you guys. Even if we say something and we're right, you guys won't ever admit it.
Do you think that those guys with the trucks and the guns are ever like if science goes, yeah, those lockdowns certainly did work and masks actually do help? Do you think they're going to go, oh gosh, you were right, I guess I'll put my mask on?
No, you're right. I'm not saying it's going to come from the other side, but
Right.
I feel like I'm just a person that you gotta go with the truth no matter what it is. So like, I don't think it helps anybody to be like, well, they would fuck us over, so we're going to fuck them over, and
Right.
you just end up in these same camps the whole time.
Well, I mean, that seems like the Republican and Democratic. The Republicans are willing to, fuck you any which way from Thursday, and the Democrats are just always going to be, the nice guy and say, oh, it's okay, or it's just. And then
mess,
you hear
baby.
everybody saying that, Democrat, they need a spine. They need a spine. But then, like you're saying, if they were the same as Republicans, then what kind of country would we live in?
Yeah, well, it's not going well, Liam. I'll tell you that. Things aren't going great for good old America. We're falling down, and we'll see. Hey, maybe we'll be the new North Korea. Who knows? You never know.
That's true. You mentioned the July 6th. Was that it? The January 6th. What the insurrection? February 6th. What was that? Was it
January 6th?
January 6th. You did a movie or something that was taken off YouTube. Is that correct?
Yeah, I went down. I make these videos called Jake on the Streets, where me and a camera guy go to different events and interview people and kind of just do like, I don't really know what you call it anymore. Like when we first started, it was like obviously just supposed to be funny and kind of poking like light fun at people or, whatever, kind of having these funny little interactions. But then obviously when the pandemic hit, there weren't any there were no beer gardens anymore, to go visit. It was like all politics. So it became a little more like we went to the protests downtown in the summer. We went to a Proud Boy rally when they came through. We went to a Trump rally in Nevada. We went to And then, yeah, we went to this thing on January 6th down in Salem that was, obviously associated with the inauguration or the election. And yeah, so what happened basically was that we put the video up, it did really well, and then YouTube took it down because it used the words "stop the steal," which is like a big phrase that all these tech companies all of a sudden got terrified of. So yeah, my Instagram account was permanently deleted, and the YouTube video was taken down off YouTube permanently as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was I kind of got fucked over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just kind of, yeah, it's crazy. There's a whole thing about it.
So was there, so just Stop the Steal, was it like people chanting that, or it was just in the video somehow?
It was, I used, cause like, I mean, that's basically what we were covering, was like, they were claiming that the election was a fraudulent thing. And that was kind of the terminology they use, like, stop, you kind of heard that by these people, stop the steal. And so we just titled the video that, like, Jake on the street, stop the steal, and YouTube and these tech companies basically, once that shit popped off, when everybody ran into the Capitol in DC, they were like freaked out and like, we're like, oh, like they just didn't want to look like they were to blame for it. So they were like, oh shit, we have to get anything that uses these words off, no matter if, like, clearly I wasn't saying the election was stolen, and I wasn't like participating in this type of like a conspiracy or whatever you want to call it. I was just interviewing people who held those beliefs. But these companies, they don't have any like nuance. They're just like, oh, it's using the words, get it off, and that's it. So pretty big bummer, because obviously, like, you work hard on something, and it had almost 7,000 views, which for me, in a small video producer, is like a big, it's a nice bump to have on your channel, and then all of a sudden for it just to get deleted is it sucks.
Have you tried to put it back on in any way?
So I actually made a video. If people want to check out my YouTube channel, it's just my name, Jake Silberman. I made a little video about it and just kind of talking about it to the, like, just a kind of like a John Oliver piece, just talking to the camera kind of thing. And we just explained what happened with it. And I put it up on Vimeo just to have it somewhere. But I'm not going to re-upload it to YouTube because I don't want to risk my like whole channel getting taken down.
You don't want the heat.
Can't have the heat, dude. I mean, it's fucking sad, but you like need these big companies to make it in entertainment and comedy. Like, you really can't be without them.
Isn't that crazy? Like that.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I mean, it used to you had to just go out there and work all the time, right? And now you have to go out there, work all the time, and do all the social media stuff.
And it's really, I mean, it's sad, but it seems like more and more the social media stuff makes more of a difference than like the funniest person in the room. Like,
really?
You might as well. Oh yeah, I mean, there's people who blow up just because they have a huge social media platform and they're good at social media, and it's like they might not be the funniest, but it's like it's all about numbers. Like, if you can tell a comedy club, hey, I have 2 million followers on Instagram, they're like, oh, well, you'll sell out the club, versus funny guy X who has 10 followers. They're like, who cares? You could be the funniest motherfucker in the room, but no one's going to see it. So fuck off, So it's sad. And anytime a new app or a new thing comes out, you have to be, like, oh, you got to be on TikTok. You got to be on Clubhouse. You got to be it's like, dude, I don't care about this shit. I don't want to be involved in this shit.
You need to get a social media person that just does all your social media for you.
Right. If I had the money, dude, that's exactly what I would do. I would just be like, here's the shit I did this week, edit it, cut it up, put it on the apps, and fucking leave me alone. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But you got to be rich to already have that opportunity. You can't do it as an up and comer.
That's so true. Like, all the things that you gotta have to succeed. You need money to succeed. You got to have money to make money. it's ridiculous.
As old as time, baby.
Yeah.
The rich get richer, and the rest of us, you just got to like hustle and try to figure out new ways to get shit done.
So we were talking about comedy coming back. You say there's shows coming back. Are more Portland? Is there more Portland comedy going on now?
Yeah, like so it's very light still, because obviously like you can't really have a show inside at a bar because bars are so small that it won't really be worth it for the socially distance and in limits. Like you could have, it's not like most bars have spaces where you could have 200 people during normal times. So during the, you can have whatever 50. So indoor bar shows are not happening. I think what's going to happen this summer, and what I've been telling comics that I think we should all try to do, is just start like either outdoor patio shows. Like if a bar has a good patio, because then people feel safer. It's outside, it's circulated, you can socially distance. And so I have a show right now that's happens. It's currently running as a weekly, but starting in April, it's just going to be a monthly at least, at the Alberta Street Pub. And that has a nice patio, and we're doing that outside. It's the next 2 Sundays in March, and then we're just going to do the last Sunday of the month in April for the show. But so I think those things are coming back. I'm a little nervous because, like, obviously, like, I don't know the next time, like, you're going to be able to go see a band indoors, or you're going to be able to see a comedy show indoors, because these socially distant shows, like, it doesn't really work for entertainment. Like, you kind of just need the whole room because you can't fit that many people in a socially distant small bar, So I'm a little nervous about that. I'm also a little nervous about, like, what these venues will want to take on for any type of show, because, like, right now at least, and who knows how things will change, but, like, bars don't really need entertainment because people are so starved to go out that as long as you have a fucking iTunes playlist going on, like, they just want to drink and be out. Like, they don't care if there's entertainment, you know? Whereas bars used to be like, oh shit, like Tuesday night's slow, let's get a comedy show in here. Let's get a fucking band that we can, whatever. Yeah. And I really don't know if these bars are really going to see the need for that, because they're kind of like, what's slow nights? We don't have slow nights right now. People are fucking so ready to get out of their house and drink and spend money that they don't need some other reason to come out.
Yeah, but I do think that people are also itching for live entertainment, because I know that people are tired of fucking watching shit on their computer.
Totally, and that's true. And the people who have come out to my comedy show have been stoked about it. Like, they have been, and they've been like, this is awesome. I haven't done anything like this since last March. But it's one thing that if audiences want it, it's another thing if bar owners want to, like, have, like, because the venue owners are the people that we got to worry about. Like, do they want it to come back? Because we're all reliant, like, on these basically these bars and these venues, like, basically seeing it as a good opportunity for their business. Because if it's not, then they're not gonna have us. But there are some stuff coming back. There's some outdoor open mics coming back. There's a couple shows that are safe and distance that have come back. But and it feels good. It feels good to get out, because I've been doing comedy for, like, I guess 8 years technically, but I just lost a whole year. So 7 years of doing it. And so it was weird and I hadn't taken more than like a week off at a time really since I started. And all of a sudden to lose 8 months was crazy. So it's good to kind of be knocking off the rust again and slowly building the act and building your chops up again. But it takes time. I was going out, 5, 6, sometimes 7 nights a week doing comedy multiple times a night. And then to be going back to 1 or 2 spots a week is just not the same.
Yeah. And as far as, like, the creativity goes, COVID, as I think for a lot of creatives, it stumped people. It kind of, just kind of put their whole creative world on pause. Or there was people like me who I was just scrambling, like, to do anything creative I could, like, especially in the first 3 or 4 months of it. I was just trying to get projects done.
Yeah, I think it depends. From my vantage point, it seems like it depended on what type of artist you were, because there's some artists that, yes, like, it's obviously like having the public is nice and it's a benefit, but, like, if you're like you know, if you're an illustrator or a musician, like you can't play like live shows or whatever, but you can always like practice and do, you know, I'm sure there's bands who cut a whole album during this thing, you know, because they could practice with each other and they don't, yes, it sucks that they can't do live shows and make money that way, but they at least can put music out. And same with, like any type of visual artists, painters, sculptors, those types of people, I think probably didn't feel it as much. But like for comics especially, I mean, dude, the whole art is in front of people. Like once that goes away, the art form doesn't really exist anymore. And people tried to do these online shows, and I wasn't a fan of those. I didn't like them. A comedy show through Zoom to me is just like not what I am interested in, and I don't really feel like I'm that good at doing it in that way. I am sure some comics learn to be good at Zoom comedy, but it was not something that I wanted to do. So I did. Yeah.
You do more crowd work.
I do a lot of crowd work. It's very important that I have like a real live audience in front of me to get kind of a vibe of the scene. And I don't know, like, it's just, that's not what I'm interested. I do not want to do comedy through a fucking computer alone in my room. And I don't think it really even honestly translates to being a better stand-up that much. I mean, maybe you can test out a few jokes, but I don't really know what you're gaining. So I do 3 podcasts. I started podcasts, which kept me busy. I did, obviously was like I was mentioning, I made these videos where I was going out to these things, which were crowded. I was wearing a mask and stuff, but there was some risk in doing that. But I did go to these political events, and those helped. And I got a little bit of traction for doing those videos. And so I feel like I had an okay, I had an okay, like I would grade myself as like, average maybe as producing stuff and making stuff happen. I didn't like write my fucking novel. I didn't write a screenplay. I didn't do like a major project, but I did do enough that I felt like there was some growth this year, which is all I think you could really ask of yourself. Yeah. Like my YouTube channel grew. I have ideas for projects that I want to do now. So that I'm okay with, but yeah, obviously it's like, as a creative person, you always want to be producing like more stuff. So you're never really happy no matter what, I think.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. Well, let's take another little break here and listen to some more Pogues, and then we'll come back and do a little wrap up.
Cool.
Here is the Pogues doing, this is a medley of The Recruiting Sergeant, The Rocky Road to Dublin, and Galway Races. You're listening to Good Mid-Morning right here on Podland Productions.
As I was walking down the road, I'm feeling fine and lucky. Our recruiting sergeant came up to me, says he looked fine and cocky. For the king is in need of men, come read this proclamation. Now a life in Flanders for you then would be a fine vacation. Now that may be so, says I to him, but telling me Sergeant Rio, if I had a pack stuck up on me back, would I look fine and cheerio? For they'd have you train and drill until they had you on the Frenchies. Oh, it may be warm in Flanders, it's drafty in the trenches.
The sergeant smiled and winked his eye. His smile was most provoking. Oh, he twirled and twirled his wee moustache. Says, hey, you're only joking. Oh, the sandbags are so warm and high, the wind you won't be blowing. Oh,
I went to the Cullion passing by, says I, what if it's snowing? Oh,
come rain or hail or wind or snow, I'm not going out to Flanders. Oh, there's fighting in Dublin to be done. Let your sergeants and your commanders go. Let English men fight English wars. It's nearly time they started.
I saluted the sergeant, a very good night. There and then we parted. Oh!
station. My eyes began to dazzle and I off to see the races when we went father to the island. There were passengers from Limerick and passengers from Lena, the boys of Connemara and the Clare and Merrick Maidens. There were people from Cork City who were loyal, true and faithful. Brought home the fainted prisoners from dying of foreign nations. With me, father to the island. And it's there you see the pipers and the fiddlers competing. The sporting wheel of fortune and the 4 and 20 quarters. With others well screwed and pelting. What is that poor Maggie and her father well contented? And he gazed and had his daughter with me. Father to the island. And the mountain unsustainably, the pink, the blue, the orange and green, the colours of our nation. The time it came for starting, all the horses seemed the patient. Their feet they hardly touched the ground, the speed was so amazing. With me, follow to the island. There was 500,000 people there of all denominations. The Catholic, the Protestant, the Jew, the Presbyterian. Yet no animosity, no matter what persuasion. I felt your hospitality and choose a fresh acquaintance with me. Follow to the island.
That was the Pogues doing the medley of The Recruiting Sergeant, The Rocky Road to Dublin, and Galway Races off of the album If I Should Fall from the Grace of God, our album of the day. Check it out. It is St. Patrick's Day, so it's a fine album to check out. Jake, what else is going on? You've got you've got shows coming up?
I do actually, yeah. I got some shows coming up. Like I mentioned earlier, my show at the Alberta Street Pub is called Comedy is Everything. It's a free show. We just ask for donations to pay the comics at the end, but that's Sunday the 21st and then Sunday the 28th. Doors at 7, show at 7:30. It's outdoors, socially distanced. You got to wear a mask unless you're eating or drinking at your table. And people have really been digging it. And then, I have stuff kind of like a little bit outside of Portland on the road. I'm doing a gig in Dallas, Oregon. I'm doing a Beaverton thing. I'm doing something in Medford. I'm going out to Seaside. Things, probably where they don't give a fuck about COVID as much, so it's probably more dangerous. But
I was actually just going to say, I know Seaside and places like that are pretty loose.
Yes,
they're looser on their.
They are looser. So that's the game that you got to play if you want to be back at your art form. You have to put yourself in some type of risk. But I also feel a little more. More and more people are getting the vaccine. Oregon had some of the lowest cases in the country.
Yeah, they have.
So it does give me a little more confidence, I guess, to do some of these gigs in Oregon versus, like a Texas or South Dakota or someplace there were like higher spikes. So, and again, like, I just also feel like at some point you just can't stay inside forever. You kind of have to fucking make something happen for yourself or you're just going to kind of get left behind. So it's not an easy decision, and it's tough that some people, if they do have like major health concerns, and I get not going out, but
do you
wear
know,
a mask?
Do you know
stay
of
outside.
Do you know of comedians who are kind of just like I can't work because they're just not even going to try until everyone's vaccinated?
I know a couple for sure, definitely in the local scene, who I know haven't made any type of appearance because they have some type of medical concern, basically, that if they got COVID they potentially would have some like serious consequences. So I do know a few comics, and I'm sure in every scene there's definitely some who are just kind of refuse to participate until it's like 100% back. And I whatever, you got to respect that decision too, but I'm not like advocating like go into a comedy club at full capacity with no mask on. Like I think there are certain things that we've learned about COVID that it spreads in certain ways and not in others, that I think it's a little it's not as some of these situations aren't as dangerous as we thought they were 6 months ago, basically.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
yeah, man.
So, well, hopefully we'll be able to I mean, we're gonna have you back again. Yeah, you're coming back.
That's the plan until
you can't.
Until I can't, baby. That's the way the world works.
That's awesome. So Wednesdays are going to be, we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. You're also a huge sports fan. We didn't even touch on sports.
We didn't even touch sports. Yeah, I mean, you and I met because of the Portland Pickles, so I'm sure we'll be talking about that as it gets nearer. And yeah, I'm a sports guy, so I always have stuff to talk about sports with. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Pickles this year. Last year was a very disappointing.
Right.
Both you and I think we made it to the first and the last game, and that was it.
That was it, man.
And then I think, and I'm looking forward to this year. Even if it's just a smaller crowd. I mean, it can't be any smaller than it was last year. So
not at all.
And it's going to be at the Walk, so that's going to be nice.
Right, I can actually bike there instead of trying to hustle a ride down to Salem.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say we're probably gonna finish it up with a song. On tomorrow's show, our guest host will be the fantastic artist and musician from Portland's own punk group, the X-Kids, Mia Chavez. We're gonna have more stuff to discuss, more music to listen to, more fun to have. Join us right here on Podland Productions at 9 a.m. for Thursday's edition of Good Mid-Morning. Jake, I will talk to you next Wednesday, right?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Folks, we're going to finish it off with the broad, majestic Shannon from the Pogues album, If I Should Fall from the Grace of God. You've been listening to Good Mid-Morning right here on Podland Productions.
Time I saw you was down at the Greeks. There was whiskey on Sunday and tears in her cheeks. You sang me a song that was pure as the breeze on a road leading up Glenavee. I sat for a while at the Crescent Finner where young lovers would meet when the flowers are in bloom. Heard the men coming from the fire at Chiron. Their hearts in Tipperary wherever they go. Take my hand and dry your tears, babe. Take my hand, forget your fears, babe. There's no pain, there's no more sorrow. They've all gone in the years, babe. Sat for a while, but I gap in the wall, found a rusty tin can and an old hurdy ball. When the cards been dealt and the rosary called and a fiddle playing chanting and all. And the next time I see you, we're down at the Greeks. There'll be whiskey and Sunday and tears in our cheeks. We're stupid to laugh and it's useless to bawl, but a rusty tin can and an old hurdy ball. There's no pain, there's no more sorrow.